Thanks to the additions of great type-specific cards like Mystery Garden, Premium Power Pro, Forest of Vitality, but not Surfing Beach, Mega Evolution base set improves a lot of older decks. Which means, mercifully, I won't have to stretch myself like a Hitmonlee's leg putting its toes in someone's mouth like I did with Black Bolt and White Flare for this video. Now, before I begin, I just want to mention that I won't be doing a deep dive on decks that only add Lillie's Determination or the promo Psyduck, because all you do is add Lillie's Determination or the new promo Psyduck. Lillie is an amazing Shuffle Draw 8 if you haven't taken a prize, and Shuffle Draw 6 if you have. Psyduck turns off Dusclops and Dusknoir while inadvertently hurting Magneton. Both of these are great and must-owns, but as you can see from this Charizard list, they're the only new cards from Mega Evolution. It's the same with decks like Grimmsnarl and Dragapult and Typhlosion. Just Lillie's, Psyduck, or both. Okay, with that out of the way, let's formally begin the greatest YouTube video you'll watch today, provided For the Win doesn't upload a foot reveal. Even brain-dead mill deck users could tell that Cynthia's Garchomp EX would get better with Mega Evolution. After all, its biggest weakness wasn't grass. It was the inability to reliably take big one-hit KOs. Sure, Roserade boosted its damage by 30, but that still made it tough for the potential 400 hit point land shark to win games consistently. Now, just like when Popeye eats spinach, Garchomp becomes extra powerful after drinking some orange Gatorade. With Premium Power Pro, Draconic Buster can easily deal over 300 damage, and that's before factoring in Roserade. Not even Mega Venusaur is safe when Garchomp plays with its Premium PP. Since it's a 30 damage boost and it stacks, you can try to use all 4 in one turn, allowing Garchomp to deal 380 damage. Obviously that's unlikely, but the option is available. And worst case scenario, Garchomp's still a 400 hit point beast thanks to the power weight, who can also one-shot weaker EXs with Corkscrew Dive, drawing up to 6 in the process. What big brain coin flip deck users couldn't tell is how big of a help Forest of Vitality would be. Since you run Roserade for extra damage and Gabite for Pokemon search, the Forest allows you to get Roserade set up immediately, provided it isn't your first turn. So even if you're off to a bad start, you can still use Gabite's Dragon Slice to deal 80 or 100 damage on turn 2 thanks to Roserade. Add in a single Premium Power Pro, all of a sudden Gabite can one-shot a freaking Pheasantipity. There's minor variations you can make to counts of energy or Gatorade, but this is the main Garchomp list updated with new Mega Evolution cards. My favorite part is the Toedscruel. Thanks to Forest of Vitality, you can evolve into this Stage 1 Grass type quickly, which shuts off their Night Stretchers and Energy Retrievals, improving your Gholdengo and Raging Bolt matchups. The only other new card to be aware of is Fighting Gong. Play it, go grab either a basic Fighting Pokemon or basic Fighting Energy. It's the reason you don't see Earthen Vessel on the list. I also included one copy of Spiritomb because I refuse to play a Cynthia's Garchomp deck without it. I don't think Ceruledge EX is ever going to go away. I mean, even when Earthen Vessel and Squawkabilly rotate early next year with all the other G-Block cards, it'll still have Brilliant Blender and Carmine plus the new Fire Breather. But that's a problem for future you. Today, or I guess less in the future, Ceruledge gains access to Lunatone and Solrock. As long as Solrock's in play, Lunatone's ability allows it to discard a Fighting Energy from hand to draw 3 cards. So it's essentially a Pheasantipity that only gives up 1 prize while simultaneously building up Ceruledge's damage. To help find both of these guys plus the Fighting Energy, you also run Fighting Gong. And that's it for the new additions. But it's more than enough because Solrock has the added benefit of dealing with Mimikyu. Cosmo Jarvis Beam does 70 damage for a single fighting provided Lunatone's on the bench and isn't affected by weakness or resistance. The only other decision you have to make is what you want the energy spread to look like. Here it's 8 fire, 8 fighting, and 4 jet for a total of 20. I've seen successful Japanese lists go with 10 fighting for maximum mooning along with 6 fire and 3 jet. You could also bang the Gong a couple more times, bringing the count to 4, though it typically comes at the cost of removing both research. But every Ceruledge player, as well as Lightning McQueen, knows that deck building is secondary to speed. If you go fast enough and take quick KOs with Abyssal Flames, you'll win. If your start is rough, well, that's when you hope Briar wasn't discarded earlier. Of course, there's other cards you can put in here. Psyduck stops Dragapult players from using Dusknoir and Math to destroy you. If your Ceruledge deck is bursting with Fighting Energy, you can use the Gong to get Drillbur, then slap it down onto your bench to mill 3 from your deck. And Palpad helps get back any supporters you may have lost, including Briar, who can give you that extra prize when they have exactly 2 left. Just like my ex-wife, it seems like Archaludon EX has a new partner every 3 months. This time around, I swear it's going to be at least a top 25 deck thanks to the additions of Risty Ruins, Mega Mawile EX, and Iron Defender. Well, maybe not Iron Defender, but the first 2 for sure. Mega Mawile is who we thought it was. A card that will never hit the field until the very end of a game when you need someone to deal a huge amount of damage for 2 metal energy. Otherwise, it's useless and a massive liability. Called Gobble Down in English, which is also something I do to toes in addition to greedily devouring them, Mawile does 80 damage for each prize card you have taken. Take 4, that's 320, take 5, that's 400, one-shotting every Mega in the game. Until that point though, you never want to see this 3-prizer's ugly face. I mean, yeah, sure, Big Bite does 260 damage, except if their active has any damage counters on it, 260 becomes 30, which is honestly just the Pokemon Company going out of their way to make this as horrible as possible. The reason Big Bite is unusable is Risky Ruins. Whenever either player puts a basic non-darkness Pokemon on the bench from anywhere, this new stadium puts 2 damage counters on it. That's perfect for Archaludon, who struggles to take one-shots with its weak attack. Additionally, Risky Ruins damages your own Monkey Dory, giving you more counters to spread around. And it might even make Duraludon's Raging Hammer stronger when you use it with Relicanth in play. Unfortunately, Iron Defender has been dropped by Japanese players after trying it for a month or two. It's as I predicted. You'll hit that subscribe button right now in the off chance I become super popular and you can brag that you knew me before I was cool. Also, a 30 damage reduction exclusive to metal types isn't all that special. The item takes 2 to 4 slots in your deck to begin with, and a good player like me will be able to gust around it or use their turn to plan ahead. If you want to try and buy yourself a turn, Acerola's Mischief is much funnier. If they have 2 or fewer prizes left, you can fully protect one of your Pokemon from damage and effective attacks from their EXs. These days in Japan, Archaludon is pretty much figured out. 7 Metal and 2 Darkness is the energy spread of choice, you go for the full 4/4 Archaludon line, and the supporters are all designed to get you off to a speedy start at the cost of potentially discarding useful cards early. And of course, we have Hero's Cape to give Archaludon 400 hit points, making it that much more likely to survive a hit and retaliate for huge damage with Raging Hammer. If you want to try a few other cards, Venture Bomb instead of Risky Ruins is always an option. Black Belt's Training could give you that damage boost you need in key situations. And if you don't want to be as destructive, go with Lillie's Determination over large counts of Research and Carmine. While not as exciting as the improvements to Garchomp, Conkeldurr does get access to Premium Power Pro, allowing it to one-shot Megas. Unfortunately, Japanese players aren't being cool and have determined that maybe playing with your Premium PP 4 times is a little too much, as some have opted for as little as 1. But I know better than those who've spent hours testing this in a format I don't have access to yet. In case you've forgotten, thanks to Brute Bonnet's ability, Conkeldurr can attack for free and deal 250 damage. Slap a Binding Mochi on it, 250 turns into 290. Add in 10 damage from poison between turns, that's 300. Then with Gravity Mountain, every stage 2 has 30 less hit points, meaning you can one-shot Dragapult and Charizard. But with Megas in the format having upwards of 380 hit points, Conkeldurr does need a bit of a boost. That's why it needs to drink the Gatorade and restore electrolytes, whatever those are. Now it can one-shot Mega Venusaur, Gardevoir, or any other 3-prizer they try to throw at you, like UD's Exodia cards, into the ocean. Sadly, Premium Power Pro is really the only new card here unless you want to try Lillie's Determination. I would recommend having Psyduck in the deck at least for the first week of Mega Evolution until Dragapult players adapt to not using Dusknoir, at which point you can cut it. The only decisions you have to make with Conkeldurr are how many Gatorade and whether you want to run Pidgeot EX or the Dunsparce. This first version runs Pidgeot plus Latias EX so they can't trap a Brute Bonnet. You can always swap Latios for Ursaluna, just be aware that you'll need to run Jet Energy, which is what the Dunsparce build does. And instead of Secret Box to grab a supporter, stadium, tool, and item, it goes with Enriching Energy to draw 4 cards. You'll also find Perilous Jungle, as it adds those 2 extra damage counters to poison non-darkness Pokemon between turns. What's really crazy is that a few winning lists played 0 draw supporters and went with 4 Hilda and 4 Colress. If you prize Enriching Energy, you're pretty much screwed. But so long as you can get a couple Dunsparce down turn 1, it should work really well after that point. Otherwise, you can play it a little safer and go with the traditional 0 energy to Dunsparce build, which has 4 Arven and 4 Lillie. Pidgeot is still the successfulest way to play Conkeldurr in Japan, but both get the job done. Gholdengo is a unique situation, sort of like when she takes off her socks and has 6 toes. Instead of new cards helping it out, at least in Japan, there's been a new phenomenon sweeping the nation. And no, it's not Laboobies, which is the plural of Laboobos. It's Joltik Box. The winner or runner-up of several tournaments, this deck takes the best of Gholdengo and Joltik Box, then crams them together like the Daycare Lady does with Ditto and every other Pokemon until something wonderful pops out. Joltik allows you to power up Iron Hands or Pikachu turn 1 going second, setting them up to either take 2 prizes on a weak single prizer or 2 or 3 prizes on anything with 300 or less hit points. Should that strategy fail, change it up and just attack with Gholdengo, utilizing the 4 Superior Energy Retrieval plus 2 Levincia. As you'd expect, the list is a little different than what you're used to with Gholdengo. Energy Search Pro is gone, replaced with Precious Trolley. Though Prime Catcher and Unfair Stamp are great options as well. The supporter spread is stuff of nightmares for new players. 4 Boss, 4 Arven, and Brock Scouting is the devil's work. But with Gholdengo and Pheasantipity as card draw, you should be fine, so long as your first turn is fruitful. I will admit that typical lists have 3 Brock Scouting, but my toes wouldn't allow me to add that 3rd copy, so there's 1 Lillie's instead. Other options for this particular build of Gholdengo include Galvantula EX to deal 220 for 2 energy and maybe Item Lock, Team Rocket's Petrol to search out whatever trainer you need, and Penny to bring up a basic. For people who don't want to abandon their regular Gholdengo list, don't worry. That's still doing extremely well. Just add a Psyduck and you'll continue dominating. If you're disappointed I haven't streamed in a couple months, well, stay tuned. Also, if you're disappointed Gholdengo doesn't have any new cards, there's a couple you can add to delude yourself into thinking they're improvements. First up is Lunatone Solrock. Gholdengo loves having a million cards in hand. Lunatone adds 3 more cards at the cost of discarding and fighting. You also get Solrock as a backup attacker to KO Mimikyu, and Fighting Gong helps find those fighting basics and energy. Similarly, you can pair Gholdengo with Alakazam. Evolve Abra into Kadabra, draw 2. Evolve into Alakazam, draw 3. You always have the potential to get a ton of cards in your hand with Gholdengo regardless, while Alakazam rewards that by putting 2 damage counters on their active for 1 psychic. Again, I'm not saying these make Gholdengo better, they just give you something to do when I'm taking too long to upload a video. Considering that I was the first person to tell the world how awesome Hydrapple EX is, I feel obligated to feature it here. Thanks to the releases of Meganium and Force of Vitality and base set, grass decks are now 69 times better. The only problem is that most grass cards remove the GR. Hydrapple is one of the few older grass Pokemon that benefit from the new inclusions, and it's not even close. Just like how Teal Masked Ogerpon's damage is boosted by Meganium doubling your grass energy in play, so too is Hydrapple's. In case you've forgotten, by getting absolutely drenched in Hydrapple's hot, sticky syrup storm, you deal 30 base damage plus 30 more for each grass energy attached to all your Pokemon. It can be a little confusing, but with 1 physical grass energy in play, which is doubled in value by Meganium, Hydrapple deals 90 damage. Get 3 total grass energy in play, which is 6, that's 210. And with just 6 energy in play, which is 12 with Meganium, you're one-shotting every naked Mega in the game, even Venusaur. The deck runs exactly how you think it will. Turn 1, Ogerpon accelerates energy and draws cards. Turn 2, you do everything in your power to evolve Applin and Chikorita into Hydrapple and Meganium with Force of Vitality, then start swinging for the fences. Since Hydrapple's ability also accelerates an energy into play, hitting for 390 on turn 2 is something that will happen surprisingly often. Looking at the list, there's a lot of minute decisions you'll have to make. Japanese players have been waffling between 222, 322, 332, and 333 lines of Hydrapple and Meganium. The final count will ultimately rest with you. But for the purposes of this video, I exercise my genius intellect and also my extensive knowledge of knowing PTCGL will screw you over with pricing to do thick lines. 3 Ogerpon is pretty consistent pretty much across the board, same with 4 bug catching set to find your grass Pokemon and or energy. Where everyone deviates is how to play with their balls. Nest Ball, Ultra Ball, and Poffin are all up to your discretion. Basically, start with the list in the description, then make adjustments as necessary. Some of those changes include the different Diplin. One can deal up to 100 damage, the other makes itself immune to damage from basics. You could also add Toedscruel EX, which is another heavy hitter who protects against effects of attacks like Dragapult Pings. Psyduck and Shaman are always potential inclusions to protect your 40 hit point Applin, and a backup attacker like Tapu Bulu, Tropius, or Zarude is never a bad idea. Though if you really need a single prizer to KO Mimikyu, Meganium can deal 140 damage in a pinch. When I finished writing this part of the video, I realized this deck doesn't deserve nearly as much attention. But because I've tooted its horn so much, I'll finish off with Tinkaton EX featuring Alakazam. In case you've forgotten because it kinda fell on hard times once Double Turbo Energy rotated, Tinkaton EX does 30 damage times the number of cards in your hand. That's similar to the new Alakazam, who puts 2 damage counters on your opponent's active for each card in your hand. While it would be better if it was for each card in your feet, this archetype has a lot of potential. Sure, having 2 separate stage 2 lines can be tricky, but when your hand size is constantly between 15 or 20, you won't be complaining. For how this deck works, you basically just draw as many cards as possible every turn. Evolving into Kadabra draws 2, while evolving into Alakazam draws 3. Add in the baby Tinkaton, that's another potential 3 cards each turn. Where this new version excels like a spreadsheet is its ability to recover from an Iono. In the bad times, you'd have to cycle through the Dunsparce to get anywhere. Now you just discard an energy from hand, then drop to the number of psychic Pokemon you have in play, which will typically be 5 thanks to Mystery Garden. Or Lilies for 6 or 8, depending on whether you've taken a prize. Everything you need to win with Tinkaton Alakazam is here. While I have seen lists run multiple Hilda to guarantee an energy plus an evolution for card draw, I'm determined to make Lillie work. A little extra recovery might not be a terrible idea because you are discarding with Mystery Garden and baby Tinkaton's ability. Honestly, you could probably cut Mystery Garden and go with Artisan instead, but then it would only have 5 new cards, not 6. Like a lot of other Psychic decks, Tinkaton Alakazam gets better in October when Wonder Patch releases inside the Mega Diancie deck. All of a sudden, you can cut Ignition Energy entirely and just focus on basic Psychic Energy and Enriching Energy. Because I'm getting tired of talking, I'll quickly wrap up a few other older decks getting new cards. The one Mega I haven't talked about yet in these videos is Absol. It's not unplayable, it's just bad to the point where Japanese players aren't playing it. For a darkness and a colorless terminal period, yes, that's the English translation, which is somehow worse than Doom period, your opponent's active is knocked out if it has exactly 6 damage counters on it. This is the exact same attack as Glaceon EX, except it's locked to active instead of being anybody. And it's much worse than King Gambit, who KOs anyone with 4 or more. I'll give it a fair shot in an upcoming video, so maybe my mind will change, but having to finagle things with Frostlass and Munkidori or Blaziken and Munkidori seems like way too much work. Mega Kangaskhan EX, meanwhile, has popped up a few times, but only in a supporting role. And that's honestly what it's going to be relegated to for eternity if we don't get a coin reflip card. Put the Kangaroo in the active, draw 2 cards. Retreat it for free thanks to Latios's ability, and continue on with the game. Not every Raging Bolt deck is playing Kangaskhan, but 2 cards is 2 cards. If you're hellbent on attacking with this thing though, you can always try Armarouge, Mega Venusaur, or Glass Trumpet with Bouffalont for damage reduction. It's just that there's better attackers for 3 energy. Sure, you could get lucky and flip 69 heads in a row. If you do, you'll wake up right after and realize it was all a wonderful dream where PTCGL lets you have fun. Like every kid in the Queen's Gambit who wasn't good at chess, Gumshoes hasn't been adopted by Japanese Slowking players. You can still run a 1-1 line if you want, but Academy at night is still the best choice. Otherwise, just add in 4 Lillie's Determination and maybe Psyduck and you're good to go. However, in October and November, Slowking is getting access to Wonder Patch. This helps make things smoother than Slowpoke's brain. Everyone hates cards that prevent retreat, which is why the Pokemon Company is giving us our best one. Any deck running Grimmsnarl or Frostlass will love it, potentially trapping someone in the active. While it doesn't have a great ability like Maractus, the free retreat more than makes up for it. Great Tusk Mill is yet another deck benefiting from Lunatone Solrock. It wants Fighting Energy in the discard pile for Sada's Vitality. Lunatone discards Fighting Energy and draws 3 cards. Just be aware that you will risk decking yourself out quicklier, so a copy of the Reshuffling Abra might not be a bad idea. What this lengthy video revealed is that a lot of older decks are improved by Mega Evolution base set. Looking at this Japanese tier list from the final week of their Mega Evolution format, you'll notice Dragapult, Charizard, and Grimmsnarl. Like I said off the top, those really only add Lillie's Determination and Psyduck with no other meaningful changes among them. If you're wondering where Mega Gardevoir and Mega Latios are, I put those in the new decks video because I knew this one would be more bloated than a Mega Victreebel about to spew goo. Now that I'm finally done blathering on, let everyone know in the comments which old decks you intend to play with starting on Thursday.